great time. It's not face to face, it's all online. We're all in our homes, miles away. Love them like my family, what can I say? My crafting show is on, it's my time for me. Laughter, tips and tricks, this is what I need. We're here to have fun, we're all in the zone. When crafting with friends, you're never alone. Don't call or text me, it's about to begin. I've been patient, time for me to chime in. Comfy clothes on, feeling just fine. I'm busy right now, it's crafting show time. My crafting show is on, it's my time for me. Laughter, tips and tricks, this is what I need. We're here to have fun, we're all in the zone. When crafting with friends, you're never alone. The host came on, they are truly a gem. Here for the show and to chat with my friends. Chat with each other about this and that. We share ideas, wisdom and other fun facts. My crafting show is on, it's my time for me. Laughter, tips and tricks, this is what I need. We're here to have let's have a good time. Ooh, time to get our craft on. Ooh, time to have fun. Ooh, time to feel good.
Hey gifted crafters, and welcome back for another Saturday CrafterNoon. Hey guys, how are you out there? I see people tuning in from all over the place. I've got California in here. I've got South Carolina. How are you? Oh boy, people from all over the place. Hey Carol, Linda, Jackie. Hey, how are you? Awesome, Maryland. Hello, hello. Well, welcome. And if you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Nancy with GiftsHQ, and I host these weekly Saturday CrafterNoons, but we also do a daily show in the morning if you could join us at that time, and that's usually Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're on for about an hour, and we love to share all kinds of tips and tricks and ideas with you guys. So if you are into knitting, crocheting, decoupage, embroidery, and just so much more, any type of craft, you're in the right place. Go ahead and drop into the chat and say hello. We've got a wonderful community out there. We love to share all kinds of ideas, and we just love to share everything, all the projects that we have with each other, and we would like to help each other out. So if you've got a little craft show coming up, or maybe you have a little Etsy shop, or you're looking to just kind of make a little bit of projects so you can make some money, this is definitely the right place for you, because we like to share all kinds of ideas for you on that. Okay, let's see. Oh boy, I've got people. Uh-oh, Judy Bauer. Hello, having laptop issues. Oh no, but you're trying to get there. You'll get there. Don't worry about that. I see some of my friends that tune in during the week. Hello and happy Saturday. Alrighty, so let's just say hello to some friends that I see out there. I see 100 Proof Quilter. Hey, how are you? I've got Carol. I've got my, oh wow, I've got my little peeps here from Canada. Hello, how are you? And I don't know if I was going to say this name right. Duprava? Not sure. Okay, I've got Faker McFake, I've got Jackie Holman, Judy Bauer, Linda, I got 1 Minute Tips, Quilt Wrench, Robin's Quilt Basket. Alrighty, and I'm not sure if I missed you. I'm really sorry. It's kind of going around and I'm trying to catch them all up. Alrighty, so thank you all for tuning in. I know it's a Saturday, and this is just our Saturday CrafterNoon where we just kind of relax a little bit here and share all kinds of ideas. So thanks again for tuning in. Now, if you know I am a holiday girl, if you've seen me before and you follow me along, you know that I love my holidays, and I like to tell you holidays that may not be on your calendar. So let's take a look at what we have here. So today is National Flag Day. So if you have that flag, go ahead and get it out, because it's National Flag Day. So you definitely want to demonstrate that. It is also International Knit in Public Day. So if you are into knitting, go ahead and take out those knitting needles and go ahead and sit outside and just go ahead and knit away. You never know who you're going to be able to inspire. It is also, and I know we've got a lot of people out here with this, we've got National Dog Dad Day. So those of you who have dogs, the dads, those Dog Dad Day, you know, you definitely want to do something for your pets. And I know there's a lot of you out there that have some dogs over there. A lot of dog lovers here. Okay, and then also don't forget, on Sunday it is Father's Day. So lots and lots of holidays coming up, lots of reasons for you to be able to tune in to family and friends and spend some time with them. And what better way to kind of drag them into your craft room, or maybe you can just make something for them, right? I hope that you guys get to spend some time with your family and friends. If you have your dad, my dad passed away 2 years ago, so I'm not able to spend any time with my dad, but my hubby is a dad, so, you know, we've got to do something special for him. And for those of you who don't have your dads in your lives anymore, just do something memorial for them. You can just, you know, think back at the memories and just, you know, have a moment with them. Okay. Alrighty, let's see. And we've got some people in here who have a channels that, so if you have a channel, go ahead and put the name of your channel in your chat. I know we've got 100 Proof Quilter out there, but let people know what your channel is so we can help support each other and, you know, just kind of work off of each other and, you know, share ideas that way as well. So don't be shy. Go ahead and put your titles in there so that everyone knows what channel you have and they can subscribe as well. Alrighty, yeah, we've got Brandy's channel there. There's 100 Proof Quilter. Awesome, thanks for putting the link. And we've got many others out there that have channels as well. So don't be shy, put your channels in there because we all support each other. Okay, so what are we doing today? First, I want to give you just a little bit of a recap. We did a couple things during the week, but I did share something, and I'm not sure if for those of you who can't catch me during the week, you may be interested in, I did get a book called Pumpkin Hill, and this is by Anne Sutton. And what this is, it's a whimsical type of quilt that you can make. And the book comes, it is an applique, so the book comes with all of the applique pieces that you can do. And the nice thing about this quilt is you can break down the quilt into pieces and just kind of make these into little wall hangings if you didn't want to do the entire quilt. Because it is a pretty large quilt, and I keep forgetting the size on this thing, so let me look that up really quick for you. See if I see that here. Whoops. It is finishing at 57.5 by 65.5. So pretty large quilt. But it is absolutely beautiful, guys. It's very whimsical, and I think it's gorgeous. And what I really love is you can break it down. If you didn't want to make the entire quilt, you can make pieces of it and just make them little wall hangings. And I think that's pretty neat to be able to do that. Now, I'm going to be doing it. They do two different methods for applique on here, but I'm also going to try doing this with my scan and cut and sending it over to my embroidery machine to pin down. I won't be able to do that with all of the blocks on here because I am limited to a 5x7 hoop. I do have the Brother SC 1900, and that is the max size that I can get. So I'm going to try to do that for the pieces that I can, and then for the other pieces, I will just kind of do it the way that the book recommends, which is two different methods. You've got your needle turn applique method, and then it also talks about a spray starch method of applique that you can do. So, gave a little bit of information on those two methods. So if you want, just go ahead and look at the replay from Friday. Yesterday, we kind of went through the two methods and I kind of explained what the difference was on the two methods. So check that out if you'd like. Now, I also got a book that came in as well yesterday, and I wanted to share that with you. Not sure if I'll be doing this during the live, but this is something definitely if you're looking to make little small personalized wall hangings and little quilts like that that don't take a ton of time. This is really nice. It's called Say It With Quilted Skinnies. And these are 8 clever wall quilts that you can personalize. So, so sorry guys. So this is what it looks like. It's Annie's Quilting. Got a bunch of different things and it's really nice. It's got the applique that comes with it. But you can make some really neat little wall hangings. And these are the types of things that you may be able to kind of practice. For those of you that follow Power Tools with Threads, she does the snap-a-cake process. And these are a lot of different little pieces that I think will allow me to kind of practice that technique. So I really like this. It's got a ton of different ones. Different holidays, you know, and some of them are not holidays, like you can do Be Happy for the spring, and some of them is just maybe for your little laundry room. You can do wash and dry. Isn't that adorable? I really love that one. I may try to just do that one. And then of course we've got Sweet Dreams, and this is for like a little kid's room. So they have some really cute ones on here. So I went ahead and I wanted to go ahead and get that. It's 8 different ones that you can do, and I thought that that was pretty cool, so I wanted to share that with you as well. Okay, I've got a little tickle in my throat today, and I do have my little mug today with me, so I didn't have my other cup. But let me just grab a quick sip. Okay. Alrighty, so I have one more thing that came in, and I wanted to share this with you. And let me just see if I can kind of bring this out. So I did see like a little sale that they had, and it was on Threads. So I got, and this is by Connecting Threads, they've had essential cotton threads, and this is white, and I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. This is a 10 pack of thread. Okay. And they had a pretty good deal on that. So I went ahead and purchased that from them. This was one of their little deals that they had that was pretty good. I don't know if this price is still or the sale is still going on, but you may want to check out their site. It's called Connecting Threads. So I was able to pick that up, which is great because I was starting to run a little bit low on the white thread. So definitely got some of those. And then I was also able to pick up another kit. This was one that, again, was relatively low price. It's called Connecting Threads. It's Royal Tea. And it's a small little, it's finishing at about 46-inch squares. And I thought this one was very pretty as well, something a little bit different that I can try to do. And it came with all of the fabrics and all the goodies here. I can quickly just kind of go through this because, man, they've got some pretty stuff here. Here's one of the fabrics I thought was really nice. And it's nice quality fabric, guys. This one I thought was gorgeous. I thought that was just really, really pretty. And then they have just the standard blue on here. This one I thought was very pretty as well. And then, of course, they had a couple more here. And these are just smaller, cut to smaller sizes, because they're just giving you what you need here. See if I can do it from this side. So, very pretty here. You've got your standard tan color, and then the blue. So lots and lots of blues on this one. And then, of course, it gives you the applique on here to kind of make the little tea kettle and the little cups. And I thought it was just really adorable. And it really was relatively low price for it being a kit. So I was pretty happy with that. So again, it's called Connecting Threads. So if you wanted to check out their website, you may want to check out to see what other kits they have. And if you're interested on doing this one with me as well, I believe you can still get it at the same sell price. So you may want to check that out. So that's kind of the little kit that came in today. So I was really excited about that one. It's going to be kind of put into my, bunch of lists that I have of quilts that I need to get done. So we are almost done with a couple of the other quilts. So I'm going to be moving some of my quilts from my in progress pile to my completed pile really soon. So I'm happy about that. And once I do, of course, I'll be sharing that with you guys. Okay. So let me put this over to the side, back into the box. And I want to kind of just do a quick little project with you guys today. It's something that just uses charm pack. Let me just bring my little iron over. And I did just kind of spray starch these a little bit. I'm using Mary Ellen's Best Press for the starch on this one. I just spritz it. And I've got just a couple here because I know I won't be able to finish the whole thing within the hour. So I kind of have one that's kind of half done. That way I'll show you the steps on what you need to do. And then you guys can go ahead and do that. And I can show you the finishing piece of it as well. So, of course, I've just got a couple of charm squares. And you're going to need, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 charm squares. And you're going to want them to be, hold on a second, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm sorry, 6 charm squares. You want to have 3 of one color and 3 of the other. I'm choosing this yellow and just a white charm square. And again, I went ahead and I sprayed it with some starch. So I'm just going to give it a quick little press here. I'm just swishing across just to make this a little bit quick. There we go. And then I'm going to want an alternating color. So I've picked this yellow off of my little stack of tons of charm squares that I have, right? So these are just, charm squares that are my scrappy pile. I use these a lot for kind of just things when I'm trying to figure out, all kinds of different things to make. I kind of use that as my little go-to pile to do little pilot projects. And then once I figure out if I like it or not, or if I really want to make it, then I'll go ahead and I'll grab my big fabric and my nicer fabric and I'll cut that up to do it. Oh, Donna, you're working on hand embroidery? Awesome. To go on the window of your farm stand, your little green bean. Awesome. Little bitty quilts that are slow going. Yep. And that's what you do, little at a time. Just slowly just go through those. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is going to reach over and let me put this over here. And I'm going to go over to my little bag here. I have this little bag full of like little templates that I use. So let me just reach in here because we're going to be using a hexagon template that is 2 inches, and then it has a little ring around it, and that's for the seam allowance. So this makes it 2¼ inches with the seam allowance. If you leave it on here, it's 2¼ If you take it off, it's just 2 inches. And I thought that's pretty neat that you can do that. And I have all different sizes, but we're going to use this one today, and we're going to use that on our little 5-inch square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the yellow squares and one of the white squares, and I'm going to line them up together as best I can. Now remember, guys, 5-inch charm packs sometimes aren't exactly 5 inches. As you can see here, these are not really lined up as well. Like you see a lot of the yellow that's underneath here, they're not really cut exactly. And so you got to be careful with that, because people tend to think that just because they have a charm square that it is perfectly cut to size. That's not necessarily true all the time. As you can see, you've got a little bit that we're off here and a little bit off here. But it's really not going to matter for us for what we're using this for, so I'm not too worried about it. So I'm going to go ahead. I've lined these up. If you're doing directionals, you want to do right sides together of this. I'm just using a plain white, so it really doesn't matter which side it's on. But I want my fabric that has the pattern, you know, showing inside. So right sides together when you're doing this, and just kind of put them together as best you can. And you're going to place your template right on top. Let me just do it this way here. Okay, now the template itself doesn't have to be exactly squared like that on here. So if you want to kind of do it this way, so you have a little bit more leave room on these ends right here, you can do that as well. Just kind of place it anywhere that you'd like, and then grab yourself a little pencil or a marking pen, or maybe some chalk, whatever it is that you want to use. I'm going to use this pencil because it'll show a little bit better on the camera and you guys can see it. But you can use anything that you want. If you've got those washable markers or pens, you can use that. But it really is not going to matter too much here. So I'm just going to go ahead and trace this outline of this hexagon onto the top fabric here. Now, if you're using some dark fabrics, try to use white chalk, or try to flip it over to the side that has the lighter fabric, because you're going to need to be able to sew on the line that you are drawing. And if you can't see it very well, it's going to be a little difficult to do. So try to use a pen or pencil that's going to contrast the top fabric that you're marking on. Okay, so I'm going to just hold this down, and I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of mark this for me. Now, the corners can be a little tricky, so you may want to kind of just go slowly and just kind of mark a little bit. Maybe go a couple of times just so that you know that it will mark. And then just kind of flip over to the other side and do the same thing. Now, I should have put it right on my little rotating mat here, but I didn't. But that's okay, because you can just grab the edges of the fabric and turn it without touching the ruler. And then I just put my hand right back down and just continue to mark. Again, making emphasis on the corners so I can make sure that I get those right. Then I'll just do another rotate here. And again, go ahead and mark it. You may want to go a couple of times. And then just keep going here. And then rotate it again. And I think we're getting towards the end here. There we go. And then you may want to just do a little check, make sure it's marked all the way around. And once you're happy with that, go ahead and slide this right off. And you should be left with your hexagon shape. Now, you can do hexagons of all different sizes. Again, I'm doing the 2-inch one that has that 1/4 inch seam around it as well. But you can do any size that you want. I'm using this one because I want to get the maximum amount on my 5-inch square. So I want to use up as much fabric as I can on this. So that's why I'm doing that. And so what we can do right now is you can go ahead and pin it if you'd like. So let me grab my pins back here. You can pin it or you can just hold on to it, whatever is easier for you. Just pinch it here in the middle and then just go ahead and put a little pin in there so everything kind of just stays in place. Okay, so now I'm going to move this over to the side here, and I am going to drag my sewing machine over. Here we go. Drag this over, and we're going to be putting the sew cam on, and I'm going to be showing you exactly what to do here. So move this over here, but now before we get into the sewing part, there's a little bit of cutting that we have to do, but I'm going to be doing that with some scissors. So go ahead and grab your little charm square, and you're going to want to cut all around the hexagon, leaving a little bit of a 1/4 inch all the way around. Okay, so I went ahead and put some starch because it makes it a little bit easier as I'm kind of, playing around with this fabric. It's just sometimes if you don't have the starch on there, it's just really drapey and it makes it a little bit more difficult to handle. So with the starch, it does make it a little easier. And so I'm going to go ahead and cut right along and just cut that piece off. You really don't need a ton that you have to cut off, okay? You're just cutting a small, you can leave about a 1/4 inch. You just want to leave that here, and I'm just going to kind of go around. Now you can do this after you sew it, or you can do it before, either one, whatever makes you more comfortable. So either one. I'm just going to kind of get rid of the excess now, just to kind of get it out of the way. Okay, almost there. And the last one here. Okay, so a little bit of waste on here, but not too bad. Now we're going to go over to our sewing machine. I've got this all trimmed up a little bit here, makes it a little easier to handle. And we're going to go ahead and pull my threads to the back. And I'm going to go ahead and sew right on the line all the way around until I get almost to the end, and I'm going to leave a little space here. So I'm going to leave a little mark here just so I know. We'll leave the space open right here. Don't need too much. You can leave a little more if you want. This is just enough space to turn this inside out. You really don't need too much in here, but you can just leave as much as you need to be able to put your fingers in there and just turn it inside out. So let's go ahead and do this here. Here we go. I'm going to line this up against, I am lining up my line here with my needle. My needle is positioned in the center here, so it's going to be hitting this, and we're going to be sewing all the way down this line. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I am at a 3-inch stitch length, and I'm going to go ahead and just start that. And you can just, there may be a point that, maybe you get off the line just a little bit. Try not to worry too much. If you go too much on the end, you can always backspace a little bit just to get on those little corners. Once you get to the corner, you leave your needle down and raise up your presser foot, and then go ahead and rotate your fabric and try to line that right back up to your middle needle again. And then go ahead and continue. As you get to the end, again, lift up the presser foot, leave that needle down, and just pivot. And then go ahead and continue again. Now, we are getting to the point where we're going to leave this opening, so I'm going to backspace just a bit, just to kind of reinforce that. And I'm going to raise my needle, and I'm going to cut my threads there. And then I'm going to leave this opening here, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the second notch here. And we're just going to continue there. You want to leave that opening so that you can turn it inside out. And so then I go ahead and drop that needle and just continue that. Again, once you get to that corner, lift up that presser foot and give it a rotate. If you find, and I'll see if you can see this a little bit here, if you find that you have tried to rotate a little too early and you're not quite on the edge of that corner like I am here, you can see, let me see if you can see this a little bit here. If I lift this a little, this is where the corner is, but my needle is over here in this area. So I need like one more stitch just to bring me back. So just check that. Just put your needle right back down, line yourself back up, and just go ahead and take that stitch. And then you just go ahead and pick it up. And now I am right on the line, so I can go ahead and continue. Okay? If you don't get perfect, it's okay. Just kind of take it slow when you get to that corner. Just get as close as you can on here. Then go ahead and continue and just go all the way around. And I'm right back where I started here, so I'll go ahead and lift up my foot. And I'm going to go ahead and take my pin off. And let's see how we did here. Let me just cut these threads right here. Here's my little snips. Okay. So I think we did pretty good. We pretty much stayed right on the line here. You can see my stitches here. Okay. And so as we hit the corner, you know, that's why it's kind of important to be right towards the end before you do that pivot. Make sure that you as close to the line as you can get. Okay. And let's see, let's check some of these other corners here. See how we did. Not too bad here. My line kind of erased a little bit here, but that's not too bad. And so we're just kind of practicing staying on the line. So here we are, we have this opening here, and this is what we've kept open so that we can now kind of turn this inside out. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, before we do that turning inside out, I want you to go over to the little corners. I'm sorry. I have a tickle in my throat, guys. Just don't know what it is. So, let's just show them this really quick. You have your little points right here. And before you turn this over, it's really important to kind of clip these points. Now, when I say clip the points, you're not clipping your stitches. Okay, do not clip your stitches. And you want to get as close as you can. And you think, well, what is the point? It's such little tiny fabric that you're going to be cutting off. And yeah, that is true. It is just a little bit of fabric, but it makes a world of difference. Because you want these little points to kind of stand out as best as you can. So I'm going to show you how much I cut off right here. So let me get my scissors. And you can see here. It would be better if I had sharper scissors, but I think my scissors do need some sharpening. I'm just going to cut each of the corners. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Oh, one more. Okay. Let me show you exactly what I cut, and you're going to see, my gosh, that's so tiny. This is the piece that I cut off. Very, very tiny piece. But it makes a huge difference because when you flip your fabric over, the bulk that you have between where your thread is and the edge of that fabric is going to take up space, and that's going to not allow you to have that nice crisp point that you want to have. So if I could cut just a little bit more, I can, just a little here. I want to get as close to the stitch as I can so that I have a nice clear point on the ends. And if you don't do that, and you don't cut this point, you're going to have some bulge right here in the corner. And it's not going to allow it to look nice and pointy as you would want it to. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to snip just a little bit more on the areas where I can. Just because I like my little points to kind of, you know, show as best as it can. So I'm just cutting as much as I can here, and it's not too bad. Okay. Right up into the corner is what I did without cutting the stitch. Okay. All right. So now let me get rid of all these little tiny triangle pieces. Get that into the garbage. And now I'm just going to find where my opening is. And I'm going to go ahead and turn that inside out. This is where the little fingers kind of help out here. So if you've got someone with really tiny fingers that can help you out, go ahead and get that. Some people have that little topsy-turvy tool thing that you can use. You can use chopsticks. You can use anything that you have to help you kind of get this turned inside out, and then you can get your points kind of pulled out. So looks like a bit of a mess here as you're kind of turning it, but just kind of pull it out and it'll eventually come out. And then just kind of wiggle it around, move your fingers around, and just try to kind of poke these out here. Just do it as much as you can with your fingers. And then, like I said, if you have the little purple thing, chopsticks, the little topsy-turvy tool that people use, you could do that as well. I'm just going to go ahead and use a little chopstick here. And I'm going to bring it inside, and I'm just going to kind of poke out the corners as best I can here. And you want to take out, especially on the corners, you want to kind of push it in there to make sure you got the most out. But don't pull too hard that you pop your stitches, right? Okay. All right, so once you have that, you should see the shape of the hexagon on here. All right, and you'll still have your little opening that we need to close up. So now let's just take it over to our iron and just give it a nice little press. So I'm going to bring this over. Let me scoot these over to the side. My little board here. And I'm going to go ahead and just give it a quick little press here. Now, if you have a little stiletto that you can maybe reach in, you can do that too, just to kind of pop it, but be very careful. You don't want to pop the stitches, but maybe you can help the fabric relax a little bit and just make sure you get those points. And then make sure you give it a nice press here. Let the heat work on it. And then I like to kind of just flip it over and give it just one more press from the other side. Now you're wondering, what about this opening that we have here? So now we're about to close this opening. So let's move this over to the side because I don't want to burn myself. And then what you're going to do is just press your fingers into the little opening. And you're going to just kind of put your fingers on the edge and just kind of try to fold it down a little bit. And then pull on the edges. The fabric is going to naturally kind of fold in. And you're going to want to kind of grab that and just pinch that with your fingers. Okay. So go ahead and again, grab the little edges, push them, and then let the fibers go ahead and fold down. And then just pinch it with your fingers, kind of do a finger press here. And then I'm going to bring back my ironing board and I'm going to press that right down into place. Hold that down. You just kind of hit that with the iron. And then what we're going to do now is we're just going to top stitch all the way around. That'll close up that hole and give it a nice finish. Okay. And then you can kind of take your little stiletto. Mine's is being just a little stubborn here. And if you can't get that, just try to get that as perfect as you can to kind of line up. Best you can. There we go. Give that a nice little press. Okay. So now I am ready to kind of move this back over and go back to my sewing machine. And again, I'm just going to give it a nice little top stitch. So move my threads over to the back. And I'm going to line this up, and I only want to do about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. You can do 1/4 inch if you'd like, but I think 1/8 of an inch would make it look a little bit nicer. So I'm going to go ahead with the 1/8 of an inch on this. And hold on, my little petal just kind of ran away from me. There we go. So go ahead and put your needle down. And then go ahead and go. There we are. When you get to that corner, again, needle down, presser foot up, give it a pivot, drop your presser foot, and then you can keep going. If you're not liking the distance that you have from where your needle is to the edge, then go ahead and go back. Raise that presser foot. Go back and give it one more little stitch. And then lift it up, go it back again. So now I'm kind of more towards 1/8 of an inch from the edge of my fabric to the middle of my needle. So I'll go ahead and continue. Maybe do one more stitch. Now, for those of you that have a straight stitch machine, you're not going to have what you may, I'm not sure if you guys are seeing it on the camera, but what happens is because I don't have a straight stitch machine, my fabric kind of sinks a little bit inside the hole. Because this is not a straight stitch machine, this is a machine that does a lot of decorative stitches. So the area where the needle is coming down is a lot wider. And so that gives the fabric the opportunity to kind of sink down and possibly move on, shift around on you. So you do have to kind of hold it a little bit. Sometimes I forget and I kind of lets go, but I'm so used to kind of getting it back on track that I'm pretty good at that right now. But for those of you with a straight stitch machine, you're only going to have one little hole. And so you don't have a lot of opportunity for your fabrics to sink in and possibly shift on you. And that's why they say that for those who have straight stitch machines, once you get them, you're going to see your accuracy on your quilting increase dramatically because you don't have that situation where your fabric can possibly sink down. So pretty neat on that, but I think I'm getting the hang of it. At some point I'll get a straight stitch machine and hopefully won't have to deal with that, right? All right, let's just keep going here. See how it kind of shifts a little bit? And then I kind of just get it right back into place. And so I've got my edge there. I'm going to go ahead and rotate and then continue. So these are tiny little things that, you know, most people really won't show that to you because you don't see the camera so close up like we are here. And so, you know, sometimes you gotta really be careful with that. But these are like little things that can happen, you know, depending on the type of machine that you have. I'm gonna do one more stitch here. And then rotate again. Now I'm coming to the area where my opening is. And so you can see I can stick my little finger in here. And I'm trying to kind of manipulate the fabric where I can get it right where I want it. And just kind of make sure I hold that in place. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. There we go. Okay. And let's see, if I get towards the end, I have a little piece more. Now I'm going to rotate just one more. One more, guys, one more. There we go. Now I'm really on the edge, so we may shift a little. There we go. And that's it. Once you get to the end, you've joined your seams. Lift up your presser foot, raise your needle, and go ahead. And we are done right here on the edge. Can you guys see that? Okay, so we've got that 1/8 of an inch was what we wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my snips. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring this over to my iron and just give it a nice little press. And you'll have your nice hexagon that is double-sided, and you have my white fabric on one side and the yellow fabric on the other. And there you have it. Now, it takes a little bit of practice to kind of get to the corners, and sometimes you may have a little bit of both, depending where you left your opening. The best thing to do is kind of leave the opening towards the middle of the line, not on the edges, because that gives you less of a chance to be able to kind of miss that corner a little bit. So if you can leave the opening in the middle, that kind of gives you the best opportunity for success there. And then you can kind of hit all your little points here as best as you can. And you're going to do a couple of these. And let's see, do I have another one out here? I do not. So let's see, we are running kind of low on time. So let me just kind of do one more really quickly. So I can show you how these would be put together. So again, lining up your fabrics right sides together, grab your little template and put it on top. And then you're going to go ahead and mark it with your pencil or pen or marking pen, you know, however it is that you're doing it. Since we're running really low on time, I'm just going to kind of do this really quickly. Oops, there we go. May not be as perfect, but I want to make sure that I am respectful of your time, because I know it's Saturday and everybody's got stuff to do. And since it's Father's Day weekend, I'm sure that you guys really want to be able to get your stuff done. So remember, it's going to be right sides together. I went ahead and printed it on this so you guys could just see that real quick, what it looks like. You're going to do right sides together, but this one's a white fabric, so it really doesn't matter for me. Okay, now I can kind of see that outline on the other side, so I'm not too worried about it. But I'm going to go ahead and line this up. Let me just do it just a little bit here, since we are pressed for some time here. If you mark up the wrong side of your fabric, you can just grab the corners and do this really quick. And this should help. There we go. See, I just kind of marked my little corners here on the edges. Can you see that? And I didn't draw the entire line. And that's totally fine. I'm not too worried about it. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And I can just line it up. And just kind of meet that there. Now, I would prefer that you guys have a line to kind of go through. But I've done a couple of these, so I kind of know where it is. So I'm not too worried about it. And here we go. A little bit off there. That's okay. And I'm getting towards the end. So I'm just going to go over here a little bit in the backspace just to kind of reinforce that stitch because I'm going to be turning it inside out. And I'm going to come over to this other side and just kind of do a little stitch here just so I'm not on the edge. And kind of back up on that too. Oops. There we go. Okay. All right, again, just coming with your scissors, cutting all the way around. This is where the starch kind of helps a little bit, avoids your fabrics from shifting around. Yeah, definitely going to need to sharpen these a bit. They have gotten a little dull. Alrighty. And don't forget to cut your corners. So cut your little corners here, so those little tiny triangles, so that you can get the best possible point. Let's grab that a little bit, and a little bit here, and here. Okay, and then I'm just going to, again, reach in and turn it inside out. Again, using whatever little tool you have to kind of put those together. I'm just kind of using my fingers and a little chopstick that I'm going to grab in a second here. Just be very careful that you don't pop your stitches on these, because you can easily pop your stitch if you pull a little too hard. Okay, here we are. Back to our ironing board and giving it a little bit of a press. And we now have another little hexagon. Again, putting my fingers inside here and just pressing this on the inside. Grab your iron, just kind of tack that down. And then I'm going to bring this over to my sewing machine, and I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick little top stitch. Now I'm kind of rushing through this, so other than that, I do it a little cleaner, but I just want to make sure that you guys, whoop, see how I kind of lifted that as it was going. There we go. It's kind of like speed sewing here. Okay. And we're at the end. So let me go ahead and grab my snips and grab all these threads here. And then give it another little press. Okay, so this is the part where I just want to show you how you put these together. So basically you have two different hexagons that you just created. So what you're wanting to do now is you're going to put these right sides together and just put one on top of the other. All right, so you've got both hexagons together here, okay? One on top of the other. And you want to line it up as best as you can. And then I want you to go ahead and take a little ruler, a little marking pen, and I want you to go ahead and draw a line from one corner here to the other. I'm going to flip these around, even though I don't want them on this side. I'm going to flip it just to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see. Okay, let's see if you see that. So again, I'm going to place my ruler right from here to here. So from this corner here to this corner here. So you're making like a little triangle right here on the end. And we're going to draw that line. And you just want to kind of match up your corners here. You can draw that little line, and that's the line that you're going to be sewing on. So let me bring it a little closer so you guys can see that here. Can you see that line? I can make it a little darker for you. Just a little darker so you can see it. Ooh, kind of shifted here. Okay, hopefully you guys could see this. Okay, so that's the line that you want to draw. You just want to be able to make this triangle. Okay? And you're going to sew right on that line that you just drew. Okay. But now, again, you're going to have your fabrics right size together. So I'm going to have to redraw that line because I want mine right size together. So you want to make sure that you're drawing the line on the right side. I only drew it on that side so that you guys could see. So let me try drawing it again on the other side. Okay. And I shifted my fabric a bit. And here we go. So I'm going to draw the line again. I'm just doing it with a pencil so you guys could see it. Then I will just line up my machine right on that line, and we're going to sew right on that line again. You see how my fabric kind of sinks, and I've got to kind of scoot it along there. There we go. Okay, so now what that does is if you open up your back fabric here, I'm going to have my white background open, but once I open this up here, it's going to start creating a little flower. Now, of course, you're going to see my little pencil mark because I was showing you that earlier, so you won't have that. But then you can take that and kind of go to your iron and press that down. And you're going to continue to do that all the way around on all of your hexagons. So when you finish, you're going to end up with something that kind of looks like this, where you start opening up each of these petals and kind of laying them flat. And then as you do that, you'll just kind of hit it with the iron. Okay, and you're going to end up with a pretty little flower here on the end, and you'll have your white background behind it. And if you flip it over to the other side, it's going to be like a little pinwheel of hexagons in the back, right? And so I'm kind of on my last two here, and I've got them pinned here, so I can go ahead and just kind of sew that end. So let me see if I can line these up. I've got the fold of the fabric, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the pin and see if I can just go ahead and sew that in place, just so I can show you guys. Now, I like to sew from the outside going in, but because that gives me a better opportunity to make sure that my petals are going to fall in the right spot. So I do start from the outside in, just to kind of make sure that these are nice and lined up. Okay, so you can see here how all the petals are kind of opening, and it's beginning to make that star. And so I still have one more here to go. I'm going to remove that pin. And again, shift this over and grab the edge. You're going to want to get to that point that you're doing. So you've got one more point. Okay, lining this up right on the point, and you're just going to go down that line as best as you can. You want to kind of line it up as you go. Here we are. Whoop. There we go. And I'll go a little bit more. There we are. So now once you've done that, I'm going to go ahead and take this off. And so I can now open up my petals, and you'll see that you start to have a pretty little star here. And so you're going to go ahead and press that with your iron. Just press them open so that they lay nice and flat. And you may have to give it a little stretch, a little tug. But what you also can do if you wanted to, kind of just, you can take a little hand needle and just kind of just do a little bit of a stitch just to keep the ends together if you wanted to. And it creates a really pretty little flower in the middle. What you can do here in the middle too is just grab a little button and kind of put a little button here in the middle. That'll look really cute. And then you have on the other side a nice little hexagon shape here on the top. So really, really cute. And it's a cute little fun project to make. It's something that you can kind of put on your table, and it creates this really nice visual. So again, grab a little hand needle and you can kind of stitch the little points together to make sure that they stay together, or just go ahead and grab your iron and give it a really nice, good press. I'd have to go back and kind of press this one more time just to get that. Okay, and that's it. That's a quick little project that you guys can try today. So I hope you guys really enjoyed that. Now, I know this weekend is Father's Day, so I am rushing through this because I know that you guys want to spend some time with your dads. And I want to wish all of the dads a very happy Father's Day. We're wishing all the amazing dads a very happy Father's Day with love, strength, and care, making the world brighter every day. Thank you for all that you do. You are truly cherished. And I hope you guys enjoy that time with your special loved ones. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I hope to be crafting with you soon. Bye, everyone.
Nancy with GiftsHQ makes crafting videos, creating with passion and a love for what she sews. Crochet, quilting, and sewing, crafting is what she knows. Making smiles one craft at a time. Your talent will grow with every stitch and every thread she weaves her on. Her hands create something special straight from the heart. And as the colors come alive, the joy spreads near and far.